Hello YouTube. I am a foreign exchange student in Japan, and today I have a list of questions about Japan that you guys have asked, and I'm going to do my best to answer all of them. So, like and subscribe. Oh yeah, we just hit 1,000 subscribers as well, so thank you guys for that. But let's get into these questions. So, the first question is my favorite thing about Japan and my least favorite thing about Japan. So, I'd have to say that my favorite thing about Japan, how kept themselves people are, because despite me being a YouTuber and filming in public while making this video and there's people passing by 24/7, I'm quite the introvert. So people just not really like coming up talking to you, like that's like heaven for an introvert like me. And my least favorite thing about Japan though is probably the only way to get around is through trains, and that can cost quite a bit of money sometimes. So yeah, there's that. The next question is, how much money have I spent on anime merch? Okay. Um, I've probably spent around maybe $100 US. I don't know how much yen that is, but I've bought a CD from my favorite anime band. I've bought a poster, and I've bought a plushie as well. So only three things, but it definitely adds up. Anyways, the next question is, how do I communicate with people? So, in Japan, you don't actually have to know a lot of Japanese to be able to communicate. Like going to restaurants and stuff, like you just point out what you want, they're like, okay. Um, but if there's ever a time that I do need to talk to people, I use ChatGPT to translate. Do not use Google Translate to try to talk to people, because with the more complex languages like Japanese, it will guaranteed mess up the translation, and then they're going to be stuck wondering what you're talking about. Um, what's public transit like? So riding trains, buses, that kind of stuff, it's very crowded, I'll tell you that much. Unless you're out like really late at night or really early in the morning, there's going to be a lot of people. And during the rush hours, like when people are going to work, lunchtime, when people are coming back from work, it gets very crowded, to the point where like you're like literally squished in between people. It's very crowded. It's very uncomfortable. That's one of the reasons why I don't like the public transit here. What's my favorite anime? Bochi the Rock. The three anime merch things I was talking about that I got, they're all Bochi the Rock. Best anime ever. And right now, I'm actually in Shimokitazawa, which is a little city in Japan where Bochi the Rock actually takes place. And there's lots of cool like little spots here. Anyways, do the Japanese hate foreigners? So this is a question that when I was back in America, people were like, yo, Japanese don't like foreigners, by the way. They're like racist, you're gonna get discriminated against. That is so false. I haven't had to deal with any like racist people or anything like that as a foreigner. They're very open and accepting to people. It's only if you're like making a nuisance, or you're like treating Japan like it's your home country and not like you're the guest, then things can get a bit frisky. But as someone who's been nothing but respectful to the Japanese people and the Japanese culture, they have been nothing but respectful to me as well. So no, they do not hate foreigners unless you're just a very hateful person. The next question is, English or Spanish? What's the scariest part of Japan? So right now, I can't really say there's anything that's scary, but when I first came here, figuring out how to get around was extremely scary. But if you use Google Maps, it has an option to show you like the train stations, what platforms you need to take, what trains you need to take, what time they arrive, what time they depart, and all this super helpful stuff. So at first it was a bit scary, but thanks to Google Maps, I was able to survive, and now I can do it on my own. I don't need Google Maps anymore. So, why did you want to go to Japan? So, I've been interested in the culture for a very long time, and I'm not ashamed to say it sprouted because of anime. I've been watching anime for a very, very long time. And eventually I was just like, I should go to Japan because anime and stuff. but I also want to be an English teacher, and in America, English teachers don't exactly get paid that much, and they don't get paid as much here in Japan either, which is another reason why I want to be in Japan. I want to be an English teacher in Japan, but everything's also cheaper here in Japan, so it's like a trade-off, but not really one at the same time. And also, you'd be living in Japan, so it's cool. Let's see here. What's the next question? Are the food portions really small? This is something that a lot of people get wrong about Japan. For some reason, a lot of people think like they don't eat much in Japan, but that is so wrong. Every meal I've had here is giant. Like the food portions are super big and also super healthy. Like it's not like American McDonald's where you have a Big Mac with 4 patties or something. No, it's like you'll have a bowl of curry, a bowl of miso soup, a bowl of rice, a side. Like it's like these giant, super healthy meals. They're definitely not small. Even I struggle to finish them sometimes because of how big they are. Okay, the next question is there anime-related stuff everywhere? Not everywhere, but there are definitely certain parts of Tokyo where you can find a lot of anime stuff, like the city Akihabara. Let this car pass by. In Akihabara, there is a lot of anime, like shops and posters and cafes, all this different stuff. But it's definitely not everywhere. Are there actually weird vending machines? So I think what you're talking about is like the used panty vending machines, and I haven't seen a single one of those. However, there are definitely some weird food vending machines. Like there's machines where you can get meat, like you can get like literal like meals and stuff. I saw a hot sauce vending machine the other day, so that was kind of weird. But yes, there's definitely some weird vending machines, but not the ones that you're thinking of. I haven't seen a single one of those. The next question is, what's your favorite part of Tokyo? For me, probably where I'm at right now, Shimokitazawa, because it's where my favorite anime took place, and also it's I don't know, there's just like a charm about it, you know, like there's like parks and there's these really big neighborhoods, and then there's like the city. I don't know, there's just like a charm about it. You'd have to come here to kind of like understand what I'm talking about. Learning Japanese hard. That's a really noisy truck. Learning Japanese is definitely one of the harder languages for someone who speaks English to learn, simply because they don't use, man, that's a loud truck. They don't use the same alphabets that we, or the same like letters and stuff, you know, like it's like there's 3 different alphabets that you have to memorize for one, and one of them has like 50,000 characters. You only have to learn like 2,000 of them to be like fluent in Japanese though. But it's definitely very hard to memorize the characters at first, and then learning vocabulary is a whole nother deal that I'm currently struggling with. I've already memorized 2 of the alphabets. So yes, it's very hard, very, very, very hard. If you want to learn Japanese, make sure you really want to learn it before attempting it. The next question is, how much Japanese do you need to know? So, as someone who speaks very minimal Japanese, like I know basic greetings and basic questions, you don't need to know a lot of Japanese to be able to just like survive and get around. Now you can't really have conversations with people, obviously, but if you're asking whether or not you need to know a lot of Japanese to just like get around, you really don't. You can go to restaurants and order food without knowing much Japanese. You can ride trains without knowing much Japanese. You don't need to know a lot. There's just a few phrases that would be helpful. The next question is, what's the weather like? It's very hot here in the summer. It gets like over 100, 110 degrees some days. And it's also very humid. It rains a lot. Last night there was a giant thunderstorm that lasted for like hours. So it's very hot and very wet. The next question is, can you really see thousands of people crossing the street at once? So I think what you're talking about is the Shibuya crossing. And yes, at this one specific part in Tokyo, there's basically these 3 different crosswalks where everyone crosses at once. And you can definitely see like hundreds, if not over 1,000 people crossing at once. But just on the normal streets of Tokyo, you're not going to really see that much. There are definitely some crosswalks where you can see maybe 100 people at once, but there's only that one place can you really see like 1,000 people crossing at once. The next question is, are there actually maid cafes? Yes, there are. I haven't visited one yet, but I'm working on it. But yes, there are cafes where there's girls that dress up as maids, all this different stuff. But there's also other cafes as well with like animals. There's like capybara cafes, cat cafes. I think there's a turtle cafe. So lots of different types of cafes that you can visit. Are the train stations confusing? At first, yes, but once you learn how to navigate them, which I'm actually planning on doing a video of, once you learn how to navigate them, they're not that hard to get around. Now, the last question is, after this passes by, the last question is, what's the time difference between Tokyo and America? So obviously there's different time zones in Japan and different time zones in America. So the time difference I'm going to be talking about is Tokyo to the West Coast, because I live on the West Coast. I live in Oregon. So the time difference there is 17 hours. Tokyo is 17 hours ahead. So I'm bad at math, but like when it's like nighttime here, it's like morning over there, and also we're a day ahead. So it'll be like nighttime. It'll be night. Let's say it's like 10 o'clock on the 17th. Over in America, it'll be like 4 in the morning on the 16th. So it's quite a crazy time difference. But yeah, they are like on other sides of the world, so it makes sense. But anyways, that is all the questions that I have from you guys. Thank you guys for asking them, and I hope I did my best to answer them. If you have any more questions, do not be afraid to comment them, and I will try to answer every single one of them in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.